started working with Walmart in 2000. When I moved here in 2001, we always used to run and hide from anyone associated with e-commerce at Walmart. And it's just funny how the times have changed and how radically different it is in 18 years. Because back then, I mean, I would ask for protection for my buyer so I didn't have to talk to someone. And the idea that my company would ever support me to actually fly out to San Bruno to go visit them was almost comical. And it wasn't San Bruno back then, but it was out there. So it's radical how much has changed, and what's going to be totally mind-blowing is going to be how much it's going to change for the next 15 years or 20 years. It'll be crazy. So Todd, you want to come on up here? I'm going to introduce just briefly and keep us on track Todd Carrington from Con Agra, and he's going to talk about knowledge is power. Thanks.
So I thought the hardest thing for me to do well was to walk up on this stage. Fear of falling right on my face right from the get-go. But now I've realized that it's actually speaking in front of all of you that will be my challenge. So I'm honored to be here. I hope that I can impart some great knowledge to you guys. And I hope that, I think Matt did a great job of talking through purely a Walmart lens. We had a few other lenses earlier this morning, which is good to know, because you want to be intellectually curious about what's out there. But we're all here for Walmart. So I hope that I can continue with that theme that Matt set up and provide you with what it means to do business here at Walmart and how you can have success here at Walmart. So quick bit about me. I work for Con Agra Brands. I've been with Con Agra through many different phases of life and variations of Con Agra. A handful of our brands, Chef, Slim Jim, Marie Callender and the Frozen Set, and then Reddi-wip. Who doesn't love Reddi-wip, right? So my responsibilities are across the entire food part of the store, all temperature states, grocery, snacks, frozen and refrigerated. So I won't say that my challenge is unique, but it's broad. And then a little bit about me, the things that I care about. This is my crew. I've been married for 20 years. I've got 3 kids. Savannah is 14, and Whitney is 12, and my little guy Nolan will be 8. And so they're kind of my pride and joy, and they're what keep me busy and keep me going. The thing that I'm most excited about is that I bought a soccer team. It's kind of cool. And I did buy this through Walmart.com. Ozark FC, it's an NPSL, semi-professional soccer team, shameless plug. I want everybody to come out and watch this summer. It'll be great. It'll be a lot of fun. If you're from out of town, come back and watch anyhow. So knowledge is power. It's a pretty common theme, right? And I think that through this, what I'm about to say, you'll hear more of what you've kind of heard this morning already as well, maybe with a little different tilt. But I think there's really 5 things that you kind of need to know. Mark Laurie put the 5 it's out there, so this is kind of reverse engineering that and stealing something that works well. So know the fundamentals, right? The reality is that we're all selling widgets. The widgets haven't changed. It's just that now these widgets are being sold enabled through technology. And what that means is that the process is faster. You've got to be more nimble. You've got to be more agile. You've got to be able to pick up on the changes that happen much more quickly than what you maybe had to pick up on in the store business. There was a lot more lead time provided with the changes that came down the pipe with the store business. Not necessarily the case. The struggle's real. You got to get on your stomach. You got to crawl through the dirt, and you got to figure out how you get end to end. The 4 Ps, though, still remain. We still have to worry about, do we have a product that resonates with your consumers? How do you promote that product? How do you price that product? How do you place that product? It just looks a little bit different, right? And again, it's enabled by technology. So you have to figure out what technologies work for you and work for your organizations and master those technologies. And then know the platforms. So I'm going to expand the definition of platforms a little bit in that, earlier today we talked about Walmart.com is your platform. OGP is your platform. Amazon's your platform. Whatever entity you're selling your stuff on, you've got to know that entity as well. So from a Walmart perspective, you have to know the ins and outs of OGP in the food space. It's important to us. And then .com. Of course, that's the only thing that can be measured right now. So that's where you've really got to focus your time. Understand that platform really, really well. And what are the puts and takes that have an impact on either of those two Walmart platforms? But again, I said I was going to expand the definition of what a platform is. There's a lot of service providers, right? There's content providers, there's analytics providers, there's creation agencies, you've got your syndicators, you've got your internal legacy systems, Oracle, SAP, whatever you're working with. I'm going to call those platforms as well because they just help enable you to do your job well. You may think, why do I need to know my internal systems? Why do I care about SAP? I'm just trying to get product from point A to point B. Well, in order for your product to get from point A to point B, it's sourced in one of those internal platforms. And if you can't speak the speak of your data management organization, you're not going to be able to communicate with them what you need out of their organization in order to have success online. You're going to be poking in areas that somebody's going to say, well, that's none of your business. You may get a little territorial, or people may get a little territorial with you, but you just got to help them understand that it's good intentioned, it's well intentioned. And in order to have success with your customer, here at Walmart.com, it's critically important that you understand what those platforms do, how they work. The code that's written from Oracle that goes into Salsify and pumps it over to Walmart. You've got to understand that path, because if something breaks and you notice it and you can figure out where in the pipeline it's broken, you can address it, because chances are your data management organization isn't going to know, what the hurdle is to get from point A to point B. You're going to have to educate. And then additionally, platforms within Walmart, order management. Matt talked about it with the order specialists, the demand planners, understanding what their role is and the tools that they have to use and the information that they can help provide, and that what you can draw from them to make your business run smoothly. That's another platform. So platforms come in a lot of different shapes, sizes, looks, and feels, and people use them for a lot of different things. Not out on the town, or if you just want to trip on the basketball court, I guess. So you got to know how to use those platforms and get really familiar with those platforms. So know the process. And what I mean by that is that you've got, again, your master data organization. You've got people who are technical owners of product information inside your organization, whether it's a food scientist that I deal with from a food perspective, whether it's an engineer that's designing a Sony radio, or whatever it is. You've got to be able to understand what their process is, so that you know how to get and what information you get from those individuals. And then obviously some really key platforms key internal stakeholders, your marketing team, of course, your supply chain team, shopper marketing teams. There's all kinds of resources that you have to leverage within your organization. Some that you may know about, some that you may not know about. But as you dig and again are intellectually curious about how you can penetrate your organizations in order to better show up and provide information on Walmart.com, you're going to find these things out and who those internal stakeholders are. Educate them about the part that they play in your success. Don't just ask them for a piece of information and it seem like you're just asking for the sake of asking and causing them trouble. Sell it. You've got to influence without authority a lot of times when you're interacting with these parts of your organization, and you'll get what you want. You play the nice guy, you usually get exactly what you want, has been my experience. believe me, I've had the experience otherwise where I haven't played the nice guy and I still haven't gotten what I wanted. So that's important. And then, of course, I think this is a horse that can be beat over and over again, and everybody has their own spin on it, but never gets too old. And because I'm not nearly as good an orator as what the person is who made this quote, I'm going to read it. So, if there's no struggle, there's no progress. Frederick Douglass. Does anyone know who Frederick Douglass was historically? So, Frederick Douglass was a stud. He was a 1800s era abolitionist, and he was a black man, and he stood up for what he needed to, what he saw as necessary change. And so he knew that he was in for the struggle. He could have very easily given up, but he didn't. And because he didn't, it laid the groundwork for a lot of great things in our country and things that we need to continue to push for in our country. But the struggle is real. So the notion of you can't teach an old dog new tricks is kind of bunk. You have to push through that. You have to kind of reset your mind around what it takes to have success in e-commerce. I've only been involved in e-commerce for a couple of years, and my introduction to e-commerce was the SAO project. The reason I raised my hand for it is because I came to Bentonville for one purpose. That purpose changed very quickly, and I knew that I needed to make myself worthy to my organization. So I put my hand in the air and said, I'll do that SAO thing, whatever the heck that is. And so I don't have deep roots in the e-commerce business like Megan does, for instance. She's been in e-commerce for a long time. But I had to change my mind around how I approach this business, because it's not the same as the store business. There's elements, of course, like I've already mentioned, but it's just not the same business. If I had kind of sat back and said, well, I guess I'll just employ the same tactics on this e-commerce business as what I've employed in the store business, I wouldn't get very far. So you have to just change your mindset. And again, I've said it a couple of times, it's a matter of just being intellectually curious around how you do what you need to do and how you can accomplish what you need to accomplish for your organization, because they're looking at you to be the consummate professional, even though you're kind of like, I have no idea what's going on. Some of you, I'm sure, are much better versed in this world than what I am, but your organizations are looking at you to be the lead for how you set strategy for your organization. New contacts, new methodologies, new language, new vernacular. You're going to sound like a complete dork to a lot of your national account managers or customer business managers, whatever your company calls them on the store side. But if you're speaking the vernacular of e-commerce within your organization, it's going to have a permeating effect. And people are already hearing about e-commerce. They're already being told that they need to pay attention to it. If you're speaking the same language that they're hearing externally, you're going to have credibility in your organization, and you're going to be able to turn people's tide on, well, 98% of my, well, I'll speak for the food portion anyhow, 98% of my business is done online or in store, only 2% of my business is done online. Where's the ROI on that? Why do I have to pay attention to e-commerce? It's a rounding error, right? But again, it's advocating for change, a change of thought, and how you do things organizationally. And really pulling your company, for a lot of us, into the digital age, helping them, again, understand why it's important, why Walmart cares about this, why your items need help online, and why you're asking for the things that you're asking. And then finally, what I'll say is that know your people. And this isn't just your buyers. This isn't just your category leads or category specialists. But again, it's other key decision makers. Matt mentioned it, the replan and analyst, the demand planner. you can a lot of times get a lot more done with those two functions than you'll ever get done with your category leaders especially, and sometimes with your category specialists. Your category leaders have too much responsibility, too many cats that they're trying to herd. Your category specialists are sometimes too close to the paper to really see what you're trying to do. But if you're having inventory issues, if items are falling off pages and you can't figure out why, a lot of times it's a matter of, well, you don't have product in the FC, and we got to get an order running so that you can have that item pop back up online. So getting close and knowing who those people are, they're not always the people that we think of to speak to immediately about challenges and issues and success, but they can be really key decision makers for you, and they'll carry a torch for your company internally with their category leads and category specialists. If you engage with them, you show them good, pertinent data, you're able to give them information that they can action on immediately, and ultimately get you guys in a good spot from a selling point of view. And then if you're anything like me, I'm sure you get thousands of solicitations on email, right? Sometimes you're just like, I've got enough that I don't even want to look at this, and you just delete it immediately. But be selective about what of those solicitations you pay attention to. Use those folks to learn something. Network the heck out of this community. Whether it's a competitive item or non-competitive item, my experience is that people in this community love to share their knowledge. And so find who that person is that can help you overcome whatever challenge it is that you're running into. So to sum it up, know your fundamentals. I'll keep it simple, right? Know your platforms, know your process, know change, and know people. Those are the 5 things. So one thing that I learned this morning, I think the way people joke is kind of a window into their soul a little bit. So I think that Megan is actually one of the people on that video that she showed, and I just didn't know how cool World of Warcraft was, but I hope that's helpful to you guys. Again, thank you, and I know I'm sitting between you and lunch.